Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Chelsea and we are going to be doing a reading vlog this week, and I am going to be reading some of my most anticipated new releases. I've had pretty good luck this year with new releases, and the books that I'm going to be reading this week, I'm really hoping for some 5-star reads. They're on the top of my list for this entire year for new releases. There's been a lot of things coming out in April, so I should have thought to do this video a little sooner in the month. But I originally had 3 books that I wanted to do for this video, but one actually just got pushed back another month. So I think we're just gonna do, unless I think of another book, we're just gonna do 2 for this video. But I'm really excited for both of them for very different reasons. So first off, I'm going to be reading A Promise of Peridot by Kate Golden. This just came out the other day. This is the sequel to Dawn of Onyx, which I read at the end of last year. I was almost going to do a reread of that because it's been a little while. I believe this is going to be a trilogy, so this is the second book in the trilogy. I didn't do the reread though. I kind of read up and watched some videos on it the other day, so hopefully I remember everything, because I remember really liking Dawn of Onyx. So I have pretty high hopes for this. I generally tend to be so-so on the first book in a lot of fantasy series and then absolutely love the second book. So not to put too much pressure on you, and it's also a little bit bigger than I think the first book was. But I'm really excited to see where the story goes with this one. So I'm going to start reading that today, and then in a couple of days we have Funny Story by Emily Henry coming out, and Emily Henry is one of my favorite authors, so I'm very excited for this. I really hope I like it. Beach Read is one of my favorite books of all time. I really liked The People We Meet on Vacation. I was so with Book Lovers, and then I liked Happy Place a lot, but not as much as like Beach Read. So I'm really hoping to get back there with Emily Henry. And I'm really excited to see what she does with this story, because it kind of sounds like a fake dating trope, and that's like one of my favorite tropes. So we've got a couple of days for that one. So I'm going to start reading A Promise of Peridot, and then I will check in with you all. Okay, hello, we're back. It's the next day. I got through a little bit of Promise of Peridot last night. And I thought it'd be a good idea to do a check-in. I feel like I'm still pretty new to vlogs, but I feel like I read a bunch and I forget to check in. So I want to do this at this point before I start reading more. And I don't know if you can see, I decided to do some tabbing in this book. I don't do that too often. I don't know, sometimes when the mood strikes, I'll tab a book. But I was getting pretty into it, and I just thought I'd take more time reading it and really enjoy it if I went a little slower and tabbed. So I am on page 137, chapter 16. It's going really well. I remember now a little more of the first one. I think I said in my last check-in that I was debating rereading the first one because it had been a few months since reading that book. But I think she does a really good job at restating a lot of the stuff that's happened and catching us up right in the beginning of this book, just to remind us of some of the stakes and some of the stuff that happened towards the end of the last book, and just kind of a reminder of where we're at. But it's going well so far. I really like both of our main characters. It's a dual POV fantasy romance, enemies to lovers. But our guy, Kane, is very much in love with Erwin. Erwin? I don't know if I'm saying her name right. When I read it, I say Erwin. And she's upset with him because he was lying to her for the bulk of the first book. So at the beginning of this, she is still really mad at him, and they're not together. But I love their banter, and he obviously cares a lot for her, and they're trying to go on this kind of quest or adventure to figure out a plan. And where I just left off, she's kind of at a place where she is still mad at him, and she still wants to protect her siblings. She's decided to help out more in this task and go on this adventure with them. I kind of like, so far we've been to some new places. We are at sea for a bunch of this beginning part, and then a whole nother city. Yeah, and I had kind of forgotten how much I just liked this world that she's set up with the different stones and some of the dynamics. I think there's so much potential for this series, so I'm going to keep reading and see what else we have in store. There's already been quite a few interesting things that have happened. There was a major like prophecy towards the end of the last book. So we'll kind of see what happens there. There's also another maybe potential love interest, but I'm not sure if I actually trust this person. They've been in it a little bit. But I am still fairly like in towards the beginning of this book. So once I get, how long is this book? I don't want to really look, but like 450, something like that. So yeah, I'll read a little more and then I will do another check-in. Okay, so time for another check-in. I'm a little bit further. I'm on page 232. And I just kind of stopped here because I was saying earlier how there was another possible male love interest, and I wasn't sure, you know, exactly what his deal was going to be, or like where his allegiances lie, or if there was going to be an actual like love triangle. But she just kissed him, so I don't know. She's not with Kane right now. Kane's pissed about it. I haven't read any further to see like why she decided to do that. I think she just doesn't really want to be with Kane right now, or won't accept her feelings for him. So she's kissing this guy who at this point's been really nice. So that's kind of wild. I wasn't really expecting that, especially because she just went through something really like crazy and traumatic. And got herself out of that situation. And yeah, so that's interesting. I wasn't really taking him too seriously as a love interest, and I think this might just be like a one-off type kiss, but whatever. I don't know if it's gonna be an actual love triangle throughout, because this is just the second book in the series, so who knows what's gonna happen. But anyway, we've gotten a few other insights into some other things and kind of what other people are doing. I also really love Griffin and Mari. I hope they're in this a lot more. They're just kind of side characters, but I would like to see if their relationship develops a little further because they're clearly both into each other. Yeah, but I'm going to keep reading. But that was just interesting because I had just said that earlier, that I was like wondering if they were positioning him to be in a love interest, and I guess they are. And it's funny because it obviously pisses off Kane, who calls her like bird or little bird or something like that. It's very similar to, what was those books called? The Ever King and the Ever Queen. It was the songbird and the serpent. Anywho, but this other guy was calling her by a different nickname, so it was just funny that it got under Kane's skin so much. But I don't know if I'm gonna finish this tonight. I would really like to, but I'll check in again later to see where I'm at. Okay, you guys, what a truly a wild day it has been. I'm gonna do another check-in. Emily Henry's funny story came out today, and I started it, listening to it on audio, and it's going really well, and I'll talk about that in a second. But last night, I got through most of A Promise of Peridot, and Peridot, I don't know. And then I finished it just now. So I had like maybe 60 pages left, so I just went through it, and the ending was wild. The ending was really good. Crazy cliffhanger. And while I'm kind of torn, about this book a little bit. I did like, let's start with what I liked first. I really liked our main characters. Very angsty book, very like their back and forth. I enjoyed a lot. There was some good spice scenes. There was like a love declaration towards the end. They were great. I liked we went to a few different places in this world and got to know some of the characters a little better. My kind of bigger thing with this book, and I'm just wondering, this is the thing about reading series as they come out and not as a whole. I don't know what the next book is going to be. So I kind of feel like this book is a bit of a builder book for that. And I'm only saying that just because not too much happened to progress the plot. They did go to some different places and were looking for this blade the whole time. And that all did get resolved. But I think it just left me wanting a little more from this book. I don't know how it is as like a standalone by itself, so much as it will probably make sense once the full trilogy is out, that this book is kind of building to the conclusion or the next book. But with that said, I still really liked it. And like I said, the cliffhanger I just read, so I'm just sort of reeling from that. But the rest of the time reading it, while I enjoyed it, I just felt that was lacking a bit. And like I talked about too, there was sort of like that storyline with another potential love interest, which I never really bought to begin with. And Kane, they're back and forth. Erwin and Kane's back and forth. He's just so in love with her, and then he was acting like she didn't love him, even though she did. So that was drawn out a little bit, and he has such like touch her and I'll kill you type vibes, and she had the most probably character development in this book, where she kind of realized her purpose with this prophecy and a bunch of other things. And then, yeah, the end, I won't say what the end is, but it was pretty wild. So I would probably say this was still a really good second installment for this series, even though I think a few things were lacking. I would still put it in like a 3.5 to maybe 4-star range, because I did really like it a lot. I'm just sad now because we have to wait till, I think, October for the last book to come out. And like I said, I might think of this book differently when you read a whole series all at once versus piecing it out. Sometimes some of the books don't stand up as good by themselves. But I would say that I did enjoy reading this, and I'm definitely interested in reading that final book when it comes out. Okay, now we need to talk about Funny Story. I don't have a physical copy of it yet. I've been listening to it on Audible. So far, I am absolutely loving it. So I already love both of our pupils so much. I love Daphne and Miles, and basically the setup for this is perfect. So we have Daphne. She was engaged to this guy, I think his name's Peter, and we hate him because basically after his bachelor party, he tells her that he is leaving her for his childhood best friend, who she's always kind of been jealous of this girl that he's been best friends with, and their families are very tight. And yeah, he just pretty much leaves it at that. They go away on a vacation for a week, and she has to like vacate their home. At the beginning of this book, she is living with Miles, who is, I believe her name's Petra, the girl that he left. So Peter and Petra, those are wild names to be together. But she has left Miles, so both of them have been dumped. And it really sucks for Daphne because they were, I think, a few months out from their wedding, I think. If they're having a bachelor party, like, it was coming up. So this book is really funny so far. Miles is really funny. Daphne, I totally get her. She's like a librarian. She wants to be a children's librarian. It kind of just sucks that she moved to this smaller Michigan town because that's where her ex grew up. And they bought a house there, or I should say he bought a house and she was living there. That's why he kind of like got the house at the end of their relationship. Yeah, and honestly, this guy kind of sucks. It's that typical, he is trying to be super nice even though he just did something awful to her. And so Miles and Daphne live together, and they don't really talk all that much. They're both kind of wallowing in their own spaces. And then they end up going out to have a drink, and they have a lot of fun with each other. And when they get back, they realized that they both have been invited to the wedding, that both of their exes are now not only getting married, but they're getting married within like a couple of months, which is crazy because I guess they've known each other for so many years that they just figured, even though they haven't been together, they just figured they've been together that long that they can get married. So they're both, it's such a funny scene because they're both really pissed, like in their own way, but really trying to like not make each other super sad. And they're drunk, so they kind of just think it'd be funny if they actually RSVP'd and went and kind of like ruined their wedding. Not really like destroyed it, but just sort of like, I think it was more of a pity invite. They weren't expecting them to come. They're just like acting like super nice people. And that's true because the guy calls her the next day and is kind of like, you RSVP'd, you don't have to come. It's gonna be kind of sad. You're gonna be there all alone. It's gonna be sad. I don't want to put you through that. But it's like, dude, you invited her. I don't know. But anyway, it's one of those things where people are just trying to be nice, but now they're gonna have to like deal with them coming to the wedding. And she just told him, because she got kind of tongue-tied, she just told him that she and Miles are now dating because they live together and came up with this plan to kind of go to the wedding, even though they were drunk and I don't think they were actually going to go. I think they just wanted to make that couple feel like, you know, sweat over it a little that they're going to be coming and what are they going to do at this wedding. So it's been really funny so far. I love her writing. It's so immersive. I immediately love both of these people and immediately hate those other people. I hope we get some more from Miles. He seems adorable and a lot of fun. Her ex seemed kind of pissed that they were together just because I don't think he ever liked Miles, and they have like a really good rapport, even though they're kind of opposites in a way, but like they're both like super nice people. And I love that Miles didn't even care after she got off the phone with the ex and was just like, I'm so sorry. I told them we were dating and that we're going to this wedding together, like as a couple. And he didn't care. He's just like, oh, that will drive them crazy. That's great. We should definitely do that. And yeah, her ex was super rude on the phone, not just the whole like you'll be sad being at my wedding thing, but also just like because he never liked Miles, just being like, oh, well, the wedding's not for a few months, you might not even be with him then. And it's like, dude, you like left her, you shouldn't care. And she's been having kind of a hard time meeting new people because she moved to this town. It sounds like kind of a smaller town, and she moved there for her ex because that was like close to his family, and she kind of got in with sort of his knit group of friends, but now can't really be friends with them, and she has a hard time making friends. So it's also really cute just because Miles is sort of a social butterfly. So he's like kind of broadening her horizons a little bit and getting her out of her box and getting her more out of her comfort zone and just like talking to people and making friends. So I will check in again later, but it is going so well and I am so excited. I knew I was gonna love this book and I'm already feeling like 5-star vibes. But I love fake dating, and like I said, Emily Henry's so fun and I love her writing and I love her characters and I love this premise, and I'm babbling a bunch now. So I'm going to read some more. I'm really enjoying it and I will check in with you guys a little later. Okay, I'm back. I'm having such a good experience reading this book. I feel like it's a 5-star book already. I have, I think, about a little over 4 hours left to listen to the book. I went on a really nice long walk yesterday and listened to it. But let me do another check-in before I get any further, because I really like this premise of just Daphne going through her like post breakup journey, and especially when or at least I've had a relationship where you feel like you're very much a we in the relationship and you've kind of lost yourself, and she hasn't really been happy in a while, even like in this relationship, and she moved to this small town, you know, for this guy, and she likes her job, she doesn't really have like a support group there. She doesn't have like good friends of her own. Like all the friends she had were his friends, and now him and his new fiance are just kind of like with those friends, and some of her older friends are now like, you know, more with them. So that's like a tough place to be. So I really like her journey, even like without Miles, even though he's like super sweet and I want them to be together. But I just like the thought of like, you don't need a significant other just to be happy. And she was really hating this town, and it's so sweet that Miles is taking her to like different places, because her ex never really took her to a lot of these places, and made the town like kind of worth living in. And she likes her job a lot and is making some other friends, like completely on her own without being like through Miles or through anyone else. And I just like really like that message too. Although I really want her and Miles to get together. They've gone on some sweet like little dates. Like he's been kind of showing her the town. And she's been trying a lot of new things and just like figuring out who she is. Because after a breakup like that, where your life is so consumed with like another person, you kind of don't even remember what you like. She kind of didn't eat food or like do activities that she really liked. She's always been super like attached to either her mom or like her college friend and then like her ex. So this is the first time where she's kind of just figuring a lot of that stuff out, which I think is really realistic when you have maybe like a long-term romantic relationship like in college or after college, and then And then you are an adult and now you're single and you're just like, I don't know really who I am without this person as an adult. So it's like a really good book, just kind of like going through that. Just kind of like dissecting that a little bit, which I don't see a ton, at least in the books that I read. Another fun thing, I don't think I said this earlier, but this isn't a dual POV book. We're just in Daphne's brain for at least where I am at this point, which isn't a bad thing. I just feel like I haven't read a book, like a romance, in a while that has that. So part of me is very interested to see or to like hear what Miles is going through, but obviously him and Daphne are having discussions too, because he's going through a lot post-breakup. He's a little more relaxed, but obviously like feeling the significance of this breakup. And they have a really nice dynamic just because Daphne's a bit more like structured and very organized and schedule orientated. And he's just sort of like fitting into that and trying to like be a little better, to like be a better friend right now, but he's definitely going to be a good love interest. And they did have one like kind of makeout session, so that's kind of where we're at right now, but they don't want to go further than that just because she doesn't want to ruin her living situation, and they are having like a good time being friends too. But she's trying to leave, or at least at this point she wants to leave town, which makes sense. The only reason she moved there was for him. And she really didn't have like friends or anything going on in the town besides a job that she does really love. So she's been looking for like work elsewhere. But yeah, she is starting to make friends and is enjoying a little more of life now that she has different like opportunities have come up, and she gets to get into some different groups, which is fun to read. So yeah, we'll see. I might try to do one more check-in before I finish this book, but I just really want to see if they get together. And yeah, I think Miles is like such a sweet, I feel like he's gonna be like a new book boyfriend. He's just very sweet, but very sweet, but very like has just gone through a lot like himself too. We don't know too much about his backstory. His sisters come to visit and they're a lot of fun together, but there's definitely like some history with his parents and just some history with like another ex. He hasn't really done a lot of long-term relationships either. So it will be interesting to see a little more of his backstory and just see them kind of grow together. And it's really just so adorable. Each of these little, I don't think they're technically dates, but each of these little dates that they go on, it's just like expanding her horizons, and their like banter is just so cute, and they're talking, and it's just really adorable. And it's just too bad that they feel like, because they're both each other's exes, that it seems wrong that they wanted to like each other, but they're really getting along really well, and they're treating each other much better than their exes were. And her ex has even approached her and just been like, stay away from that guy, he's a loser, which like has remained to be seen. Like, he seems great. So I don't really know why he has that preconceived notion. But I don't know if he's just jealous that now she's with him. It's kind of a weird situation, and I don't really like it. So I will check back in a bit. Hopefully I can get to this book done today. But yes, it is going so well. Okay, hello again. I need to wrap up this video. Again, I'm sad I couldn't read the third book, but it's going to be coming out next month. And these were two really good books. I think I ended up giving Promise of Peridot, I just rounded up and gave it a 4-star. And yeah, Funny Story is probably one of my favorite books of the year. 5 stars completely. I felt it all the way through. Had such a good experience reading it. I think I already kind of gave most of my thoughts on what I thought about the characters and the character development. And I just really liked the premise of not needing a significant other to find your own happiness, and that she just had to find, you know, her own people, and she had to like love herself. And Miles was a really good character too. He was really interesting to read about, even though we didn't get his POV. But I just thought the banter and the story and the writing was just phenomenal in that book. So 5 stars. Emily Henry is still the queen. So yeah, what a successful time reading some of my most anticipated books of the year. And if you liked this video, please like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And I will see you guys in the next video.